Mike McCarthy, and then I'm going to put Dak Prescott in there too. Because let's be super honest about this game. Like, you watch this game, there were a lot of things that you can take away from it. But one of them is certainly that the Dallas Cowboys offense and Dak Prescott did not perform well and have not performed well for a large portion of the second half of the season. So
let me give you a little
dole
bit.
it out, baby.
Okay. So far in the playoffs, the 4:00 game yesterday, you had an elite quarterback in Joe Burrow. You had kind of a Kirk Cousins-y quarterback in Derek Carr. Joe Burrow wins. The night game, you had an elite quarterback like Josh Allen. You had a Kirk Cousins-y quarterback in Mac Jones. Mm-hmm. Josh Allen wins. The 1:00 game, you had the best quarterback of all time versus a Kirk Cousins-y kind of quarterback in Jalen Hurts. The best quarterback of all time wins. It was supposed to be, right, in the 4:00 hour, Jimmy Garoppolo, who's kind of a Kirk Cousins-y quarterback, against Dak Prescott, who going into the year, and we've waffled that. There are articles on our website where we've written Dallas shouldn't spend the money on Dak Prescott, and then there are others where it says Dallas shouldn't franchise tag Dak Prescott, and then there are others where we've talked glowingly of him. This season, and I did this analysis prior to the week, so this has not been updated. Dak Prescott and the Dallas Cowboys, and this includes Cooper Rush, by the way, are getting the 13th most WAR at the quarterback position per dollar spent. Mm-hmm. Middle of the pack, right? If you look at WAR per dollar spent on the offense, Dallas is 8th. But the problem is when you look at the teams that are ahead of Dallas in that, and again, this is where I think about, does your quarterback elevate the team around you? The teams that are highest in WAR per dollar spent on quarterback, wide receiver, tight end, O-line, running back, basically the whole rest of the offense. Tampa, Kansas City, Philly, who made the playoffs despite a bad defense, as we saw that defense on display today. New England, the Los Angeles Rams, the Los Angeles Chargers, the Cincinnati Bengals. And again, Dallas being in that top 10 area, but they basically have the same WAR per dollar spent on the offense as Minnesota. I think we have to be we come out of this game and maybe there's 2 Kirk Cousins in that game.
So first off, can we stop comparing every mediocre quarterback to Kirk Cousins, please? It's just painful at this point. It's just enough. I've heard enough of Kirk Cousins.
So my point is that Dak is third.
Are you blaming?
Dak is third. Dak deserves 25% of the blame.
Okay, so now Kellen Moore and Mike McCarthy.
Kellen Moore deserves 25% of the blame.
Would you hire Kellen Moore to be your head coach right now?
I would consider Kellen Moore to be my head coach, and here's why. I was going through this because we help teams with this process, and we also help media members sort of sort through. Kellen Moore's offensive play caller ranking is really freaking high this year, and that is, in my opinion, enhanced by the fact that Dak Prescott has not played well for the vast majority of the last 2/3 of the season since getting hurt. I would need assurances that Kellen Moore was going to have some sort of Daniel Stern from Baltimore or some sort of Ryan Pagiani from Philadelphia. I would need some sort of convincing
pronunciation, by the way.
Yeah, sorry. I would need some sort of convincing that Kellen Moore was going to delegate that decision making to somebody, or not decision making, but that evaluating to somebody else. If he convinced me that he would, I'm fine with it. Because he's really good at scheming offense, and he seems like a great guy, and he's left-handed.
Seems like a great guy,
like you. He's left-handed, all that kind of stuff. If he thought that he could handle it all, calling plays, being a head coach, doing the head coaching decision stuff, there's only so many people who can do that. If he thought that he could bite off that, then I would pivot away from him in the interview process, which gives me back to the 50%, which is Mike McCarthy.
Okay.
Mike McCarthy has done some smart things in Dallas. Mm-hmm. I take a little bit of back. I think signing Dan Quinn was smart. I think, some of the things they've done in free agency and stuff like that, smart. But the in-game stuff is just, this is a solved problem. And he struggles with it every freaking game.
So you're giving him 50.
50%. The calling a quarterback draw is an offensive freaking call at that. And that's not McCarthy's fault other than signing off.
So here's what I'm going to say. Kellen Moore called a draw. You cannot hire a guy to be your head coach if he is so rattled, brain dead, whatever the fuck you want to call it. A quarterback draw.
But here's
14 seconds left. Okay. Now, McCarthy supposedly okayed the quarterback draw, which is, look, I don't think we need to argue about this. It's it's tough to look at Mike McCarthy in game and some of the decisions that he's made and the fact that the team continues to be really undisciplined, had a ton of penalties in this game. Those things all ladder up to the head coach and the culture that you're setting. But
ladder up.
I'll say this. Mike McCarthy supporting Kellen Moore as an offensive coordinator and saying like, yeah, I'm good with you calling a draw. I'm not going to place more blame on McCarthy than I am on Kellen Moore. That's an abomination.
But here's the thing.
That's a disaster.
If this game came down to one play, then you're right. The problem is they punted on 4th and medium or less from around midfield, twice in the game.
Yep.
They also
kicked a field goal to cut 16-point lead to a 13.
And they also, and this is why I made it 50. They 4th and 5 from midfield. They, instead of using their MVP caliber quarterback on good days to throw the ball for first.
You mean MVP?
MVP, yeah. He's not just MVP caliber. He won one. To make a fake punt on 4th and 5 when you're down by multiple scores.
That was
to convert it and
bad.
Then try to run whatever that was. Hurry up with your punt team, and then being so. Honestly, the only thing that redeemed him there was that they didn't call a timeout when they got to delay a game, right? Because doing all that, that's McCarthy's fault. That's McCarthy's fault for trying to run hurry up with your special teams. He tried to run hurry up with his punt team after running a fake punt on a play he just should have went for fourth down to begin with.
So who should the Cowboys have as head coach next year?
I would give Kellen Moore a chance, actually.
Okay.
I'm not saying. Look, I don't even think McCarthy.
You're going to give Kellen quarterback draw with 14 seconds left a chance.
That was a terrible call. Yes, it was a terrible call.
That was.
But I think
that offense. This is the other. I mean, you either are going to place a lot of blame on Dak, and I think you should. He did not play well. He was like the 12th highest graded quarterback since coming back from his injury. Not a total abomination, but also they really didn't beat like a very good team down the stretch at all. They have Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb, Cedric Wilson, Dalton Schultz, an amazing offensive line. They pay their running back $95 million. Their best running back is Tony Pollard, and he's awesome. And their offense looked like shit. So, is Dak Prescott worse than Jimmy Garoppolo as a quarterback?
No.
Okay. Well, here's the news here, Eric. The Dallas Cowboys have the best offensive weapons out there. They're amazing. So if your offensive coordinator can't do better with an above-average quarterback, and Dak Prescott, even when bad, is an above-average quarterback, I don't know what you're hoping for.
But the problem is whether Dak Prescott's the problem or not doesn't matter. And that was like part of my issue with like covering the Vikings and covering the Rams with Goff and the Eagles with Wentz and all that stuff. It's like you're not getting out from under that quarterback, right? Mm-hmm. Dak's there, right? So the next person has to be able to get the most out of Dak Prescott. The next person does. And I think, again, I don't think Mike McCarthy's been universally bad for the Dallas Cowboys. I just think that in the biggest of spots, you just see the difference between, and I don't think Shanahan punted or kicked the field goal on a fourth down he shouldn't have. I think that they were a little bit too flimsy with Garoppolo. Sort of they got the Ayuk miss, which was not obviously a great scheme play.
By the way, the Ayuk miss People are yelling about the
interception.
The Ayuk miss was the worst.
Basically
throw.
put the game away.
It was the worst throw.
Yeah, but you got the ball back after that, and then you threw a pick in your own end. I think Shanahan's far better, but you see it in these games. You see it with McCarthy right now. You saw it you saw it all the way back to 2014 in the NFC title game against the Seahawks, where they kicked 2 field goals on 4th and goal. Like, you just see this stuff, and it's like, that's the difference. And you come out of Dallas, so Dallas goes 6-10 year 1, 12-6 year 2. So obviously, you have some things, you improved. But how much better should you have been? And I think Jerry Jones said it. He said, look, with this talent, like, we should be a better team.
Yes.
And so where do you unlock it here? For example, I don't think Dan Quinn would be the right guy for that job. Maybe Kellen Moore would, but honestly, like, what is there left to preserve of the Kellen Moore offense even? That would be my only thing. Keep Kellen Moore if you think that the elements of that offense are what makes it tick, and Mike McCarthy was just leaving that behind. If it's not, you just got to start over. But I think Jerry obviously hates starting over because he literally just went to a high-profile coach who they paid a lot of money to just 2 years ago.
I don't know what he's going to do, but I have a feeling. I mean, I could obviously see him going to Kellen Moore. I have an interesting feeling, though, that he's looking at this now and he's going, I either bring someone in that I feel can win right now, Kellen Moore has to be a part of that shambles. So I wonder if he tries to keep Kellen Moore potentially as an OC and bring in another head coach.
But I just think you don't see that happening, right? Like and this is the perfect.
Yeah, maybe, but this performance was disastrous. Yeah, and I would be surprised if Kellen Moore's stock does not take a hit because of this game.
For sure. And the draw play, I mean, let's just think, mathematically speaking, let's just think about what the process was. The ball is at the 40. You had 14 seconds left. You have no timeouts. The Niners were giving you the sidelines the whole time.
Yes, they should have gone to the end zone twice, at least.
But I think, in my opinion, I think you should have picked up 5 or 6 more yards or whatever it took and then go to the end zone twice. The thing is the curve, basically, this is just sort of a math problem, but like the success curve is not that steep around that area of the field. It's not that sensitive to 5 or 6 more yards, right? So like to take 2 like smaller shots and then go to the end zone once is stupid. To take maybe like 1 more 5-yard gain and take 2 shots to the end zone, your chances of not success are basically the 1 minus a small probability or whatever that is. So like that's you gain the multiplicity there with going for the deep shot. And that's kind of where I see it is like. I would have been okay if they would have gone to the sideline one more time and thrown 2 shots in the end zone with like 9 seconds left. First one takes 8, then that last one takes the last 1 second, and then you're fine. Doing what they did to line up to what was the best case scenario of that play? You get 15 yards, a peer of Jerome Boger somehow spots the ball in enough time for you to get a spike down, which again, that assumption. Everybody's like, Skip Bayless was like, oh, it's not the Dallas Cowboys' fault. It is the Dallas Cowboys' fault. You watched NFL football yesterday. These refs, and I wouldn't be any better. So I'm throwing that out there. But the refs in the NFL, you cannot assume anything. So like to say, oh, well, if every operation went smooth, yeah, of course. And if I had $1 million, and so, like, the best case scenario is you spike the ball with 1 second left. And what's really the difference between throwing one from the 40 and throwing one from the 24? It's obviously matters, but you only have one of them. And, of course, the tail risk is the fuckery that you got from the officials. Did you see that guy? He spotted the ball twice. And then Dak, of course, because he's a Dallas Cowboy and they haven't won a playoff game. They have won 2 playoff games since 1996. Dak, like, fucks around with them, and the game's over.